Hello everyone! Why is my camera stuck? Let me try and fix that. I'm not sure what happened there. Let me see. Good evening and welcome to the live stream. So let me try and fix this because it's not working correctly. Let me see. Not sure what happens there, but anyway, welcome to the live stream, everyone. I hope you're all very well this evening. We have 168. Wow, the Tomalig says congratulations, Max. Here's to 200,000 plus. Have a tribble and think Borowski. Congratulations, Max. Here's to 200,000 plus a tribble and think balance. Borowski, thank you so much for that. Let me try and fix this webcam because it doesn't seem to be working for some reason. I'll remove it and try and add it again. Apologies for that. I'm not sure what happened there. Let me see. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming on tonight. We have, let me see if this is working now. And it's not working. I try and do something different, and this is what happens. Bear with me one moment, guys. Let me see if I can get this thing. There we go. That should be working a bit better. Okay. Apologies for that. I'm not sure what happened. So thanks to Tomalig. Thanks so much for that super chat. We also have one from, let me see, Number 3. Thanks so much, Number 3. Well done, Max. Thank you so much for that. We have Valerio Tarantino. My congratulations, Max. I'm very glad you have achieved. I'm very glad for what you've achieved. Do you think you'll interview Peter Stefanovic one day? It'd be very interesting. Yes, I hope to interview him sometime soon. It'd be great to have him on, so that'd be great. I'll let you know if I do. We have Magic. Thanks so much, Magic. Hello, IT. Did you try turning it off and turning it on again? Can you guys see me? Hopefully you can see me. We got audio, we got video. Okay, we got tricorder. Very good. Okay, great to see you. Hope you it's great that you can see me too. What's on the shirt? The shirt is empty. I'm sorry, there's nothing on the shirt. I wasn't able to get the shirt that I wanted to. I had a quick look around for it, but I wasn't able to find it. I had a special shirt that I wanted to show to you tonight, but I wasn't able to do that. This is a very informal live stream, as you can imagine. I have a lot of questions that I've received that I need to read out and answer during the stream tonight. You can also hit me with a super chat if you want me to read out your comment or your question. This is an Ask Me Anything. I'll try and read out as many also from the chat as possible as well. But from Discord, I just want to start off with some questions from Discord. The first was from Roshin, who says, what's your favorite thing about Italy? My favorite thing about Italy is the food. And you can't see me pointing to my stomach, but unfortunately the food is very good, and that's a problem because when I first came to Italy, I put on about a stone. It's like 4 kilos. I think 4 kilos is a stone. That's what I put on in about a month or two, so, because the food is very good, and that's a big problem. Freddie B, not going to lie though, Sir Ron was taking over. Yes, Sir Ron robbed stealed my thunders today. I don't know what he did. He managed to copy over one of the videos that I had uploaded, and that was uncalled for. But then that's Sir Ron, you know, that's the mischief he gets up to. Congratulations, Max, 1000. Thanks so much, Freddie B. Thanks to everyone. I'm receiving so many congratulations on reaching 100,000. You know, I want to say massive thank you to everyone here and everyone who's been sharing the videos and smashing the like button and following the live streams and everything. It's, you know, I couldn't have done it without you guys. So 6 kilos. Okay, thanks, Peter. It was 6.3, so a lot. It was wonderful food here in Italy. That's the problem. Nadine Torres says, well done, Max. You're getting so popular. I may have to privatize you. Congratulations on your 100,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, Nadine. Max, are you going to do the full Monty on us? You can leave your hat. Fearless, I want people to remain subscribers. That's the problem. If I do the full Monty, people will be pressing that unsubscribe button before I get, you know, halfway through the striptease. Thanks for that super chat. You know, I want to keep people on the channel. Okay, that's the secret. I want to read out some more questions that we received on Discord. One was, have you told Mrs. Max how you're going to pay to get 100,000 subscribers? No, I haven't told her yet. What do you think the next calendar theme will be? So we had the Mankini calendar. We also had the loincloth calendar. So I don't know. The material gets smaller as we go along. So I don't know what comes next after. Does anyone know in the chat what comes after loincloth? I don't know what comes after loincloth. Please tell me it's something. Boomerage says, what does Mrs. Max think of your natural affinity to wearing mankinis? Well, she doesn't know about it. That's the thing. I keep the mankini under. You can't really see it now, but the mankini is under the clothing. So that's... if it's kept under the clothing, then it doesn't harm anyone. Okay. It's comfortable. G-string. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Constance. We have a question from Chris Murphy, who says, does Sir Ronvanty share his passion of calendars, this passion of calendars you have? I think Sir Ronvanty is a little bit jealous. I don't know why he's jealous of Mankinis, but I think he'd like to have his own calendars. And maybe somebody could commission Sir Ronvanty. Now, there have been some pictures of Sir Ronvanty in a Mankini. I'm not going to share those. They're quite shocking, okay, just to put it that way. They include a picture of the Queen in a particular position on the Mankini. That's all I'll say about it. The person who commissioned it knows exactly what I'm talking about. Itchy Back, thanks so much for that super chat. Which one do you think would Sorry, which one would you rather wake up next to after a heavy, oh my god, rather heavy night, drinking night? Teresa Coffey or Nadine Dorris? Or name a Tory you'd prefer. Nadine would be a lot of fun. No, I don't know. Probably Nadine. If the choice is between Therese Coffey and Nadine, I'd have to say Nadine. But the choice is not wonderful. Okay, that's all I can say about it. Thanks for that, Ichiback. So, Ichiback, who would you prefer? That's the question I have back to you. Genocide Jim, Scotland the Brave, F up the Tories. Well said, Genocide Jim. Thanks for that super chat. Wayne says, hi Max, big congrats on your 100,000 subs. Why did you move to Italy? What did you do before that? And are you full-time now on YouTube and Italian food? Full-time on Italian food, definitely. I'm about 99% full-time on YouTube, yes. So I've been very, very fortunate that the channel has been going so well over the last year that I've been able to do it full-time. And it takes a significant amount of time. There are others like Phil and All Shorts and Political X and Big Maj and others who I imagine do invest a lot more time than I do. I'm quite fortunate that with the format that I use, but it does require a significant amount of time, and but I am doing it full time. And what did I do before that? I was teaching business English, if you'd believe it, to Italians. So I'd go into companies and I'd explain to them how to do emails in English or how to do meetings in English and teach them some of the vocabulary. So it wasn't really teaching English. It was more explaining how you'd write emails in English, things like that. So that was what I was doing before. I'd also do some lessons with kids to help them improve their English. But we never talked about Brexit, I promise. Before that, when I lived in Ireland, I worked in IT, but now I've forgotten it all and everything has changed, so I'm terrible at IT now. But I did work in IT before that when I lived in Dublin. Thanks for that super chat. Reagan Ali, thank you so much for that. Congratulations on 100,000 subscribers. Well deserved. Thank you so much for that. I never, honestly, people, it sounds like a cliche, but I never believed it would actually arrive at 100,000. When it reached at 50,000, that was about, I think, a year and a half ago. I was like, my goodness, 50,000 subscribers. Are these people crazy to listen to me? And but now there's 100,000. It's unbelievable. And there's been a huge boost in the last number of months as well. So it tends to go up and down. And something I want to do is I want to give back as well, in the sense that I want to help the smaller channels. So I'm very fortunate that this channel has 100,000. I want to help out. There are very good YouTubers around. I'd like to try and help them out as well, because as I said, I'm fortunate that there's 100,000 here. We're all on the same side, and it'd be good to promote some smaller channels as well, because they need some help. Rob, thank you so much for that super chat as well. Wow, there's so many very, very kind donations tonight. Thank you so much, everyone. Roisin, thank you so much for that. Congrats, Max. I had a few glasses of vino before getting here, unfortunately. Not related to the channel, is related to something else. 100,000. Why the interest in UK politics? We benefit greatly from it. NB, great to have you on once again. Hope you're well. Great to see you. What's the interest in UK politics? This is a question I often get. Why is there an Irish guy living in Italy talking about UK politics? And two reasons. One is first and foremost, I have a lot of friends and family living in the UK, and they have been deeply impacted by Brexit. It's more difficult for them to move back or to stay. They're concerned about the future. so I'm very concerned about what's happening in the UK. But I've also had a passion for politics. So I've always been interested in UK politics in particular, because when I lived in Ireland, when I was growing up, it was I always found the Irish politics a bit boring. That's changed a lot over the last number of years, especially with Sinn Féin. But when I was growing up, it was Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and it sort of switched between the two. And for many people, it's not completely true, but for many people, there was this idea that, well, they're basically the same. If you looked at, instead of British politics, you had the Labour Party or the Conservatives, who are very different. And this contrast was very interesting. But since Brexit, when the channel really started to take off, my concern has always been about friends and family, people who have subscribed to the channel, people who contact me about Brexit, about what's happening in the UK, people who are deeply concerned about the future as well. This is why I continually talk about Brexit, but also the warning for the future, because people like Farage are able to pour poison into the ears of people, and there are Farages all over Europe, and I think they need to be confronted. And this is a way of confronting them, is getting the message out. Thanks for that super chat. Chris Murphy, thank you so much for that as well. I hope I didn't miss anyone, so moderators, tell me if I missed anyone. We have some more questions from Discord. Charles Haughey was interesting. 10 for Charlie, 1 for the country. Yeah, that was Charles Haughey and Fianna Fáil were quite interesting. And Bertie Ahern was quite interesting as well. He's quite interesting. He hasn't gone anywhere. We have a number of questions from Constance, who says, what's the weirdest funny thing someone has said on a post-stream chat? On a post-stream chat, I can't think of the funniest thing, but the funniest thing that's actually happened during a live stream was, and I blame the moderators for doing this, somebody started talking about Richard Gere, and there's this urban legend about Richard Gere involving, I think it was a gerbil or a hamster. Now, it's an urban legend, okay, it's not true. But when I heard this, I couldn't stop laughing. And really, I broke down. And the stream went down, not down, but it was disrupted for about 10-15 minutes just of me laughing, because I got the giggles and I couldn't stop. So this was probably the funniest thing. No, it wasn't a post stream chat, but it was during a stream, which is probably worse. S-Mac, thanks so much for that super chat. Congrats on telling the truth about Brexit and the protocol. Look, I'm not. Thank you so much for that super chat. I just think it's quite simple that the Brexit is damaging and the protocol is mitigating against that damage. And as long as we understand that, you can't really criticize the protocol. So it's not even telling the truth about the protocol. It's just about saying this is what the protocol is, and whatever criticisms people have of the protocol, they have to extend that to Brexit. And I think that's a big problem with Boris Johnson's government and the likes of the DUP. They supported Brexit, but they criticized the protocol. If they had said we were against Brexit altogether, then we're on the same side. Yes, we can criticize the protocol, but they don't want to do that. They want to criticize the protocol, but not Brexit. Thanks for that super chat. Another question I have here on Discord is, if you could go out on the lash, so for a few drinks, with 8 famous people, dead or alive, who would you choose and why? 8 people. I can't think of 8 famous people, dead or alive. I don't know. Gandhi? Would Gandhi be nice? A good person to go out for a few drinks with. This is about going out for drinks, okay? So Gandhi probably is not the first person that comes to mind. I don't know. I'll have to skip over that question. And then it's 8 people. And it's going out for a few drinks, okay? It's not just meeting the most famous person. Tom Lake, thanks so much for that super chat. Very kind of you. I hope you're well. Thanks again, actually. You sent another one before that. What's your worst fashion mistake? My God, what? No, I've never worn sandals and socks together. Okay, that's that's a no-no. So I'm not going to go there. Worst fashion mistake. I don't know. I don't know. Jeans with trainers. I don't know. Maybe that's the worst. It's not very extreme, but I don't have a huge fashion sense. But unlike the original guy, who was very smartly dressed, I'm a bit lazy. Freddie B, thanks so much for that super chat. Max, next president of Ireland. I also forgot Brian Cowan. Yes. Would you expand on EU politics in the future? Also, congrats. See you at the next milestone. Thank you so much, Freddie B. I think there have been a lot of people asking me to talk more about European politics, and I think going forward, I'm going to have to talk a lot more about Irish politics as well, because it's more intertwined with UK politics than many people think. It's going, the future of Ireland is going to have an impact on the United Kingdom. The future of the United Kingdom is going to have an impact on Ireland, and the future of the UK is going to have an impact on Europe. I think there is a feeling within the European Union to move away from Brexit to, Brexit is done, let's move on. But obviously that's not the case. So I think it's important to consider the impact of Brexit also in the rest of Europe. And I'll definitely be talking more about that in the future. It just tends that, and I'm not doing videos just to get likes or get views, because I think it's important to talk about a lot of issues, even if they're not very popular. But the European Union or European videos don't get as many views, and when you're doing this all the time, you tend to, and you can ask other YouTubers, they'll tell you the same thing. You tend to focus on things that people are interested in, and not focus on things that people are not interested in. But I think going forward, it's definitely European issues are going to intertwine with what's happening post Brexit as well. So I'll definitely be doing more on that. Yes. Tomalig, you removed your message. Don't know what happened there. Anyway, I think I read it out anyway. We have another question. If you were stuck on a desert island with 5 luxury items, what would you take? Let me see. What would I take? A luxury, just not 5 items. We have to make it more difficult. It has to be luxury items. Would you describe a computer as a luxury item? Technically, toilet paper is considered a luxury item. Really, I remember some years ago they were describing whether VAT should be on toilet paper because it's considered a luxury item. Really? Okay. 5. Maybe a computer. A fridge, is that a luxury item? I think it's an essential item. It's cool to have a fridge if you're on a desert island, keep your drinks cool. A sofa, be nice to have something comfortable, maybe a comfortable bed. But then I don't know if these are luxury items. So I'm terrible at answering some of these questions. We have a super chat from Katie Chuck. Katie Chuck. Great to have you on the stream. What is your reaction when you heard the UK voted leave? I cried a lot. Thanks for articulating Brexit so well. There's no media that speaks for us. Thanks so much for that super chat, Katie. Before the vote, I was split, and part of me was thinking, they're going to vote to leave. And then part of me was thinking, no, that's stupid. And I didn't go out and bet. Some people went out and betted money on this. I didn't do that. Bet money on this. I didn't do that. But part of me was like, yes, people are going. The leave vote is going to win. And then I was like, no, people are not going to do that. And it kept, in the days running up to the vote, I was thinking, no, it's going to go this way. No, it's going to go that way. No, it's going to, and eventually I came down and said, no, people will vote to remain. If you had pushed me at the time, would say, yeah, people will vote to remain. They won't be that crazy. And I was wrong. But in a few days before, I was, on the side of it going either way. And even for a period, I was thinking, yeah, it's actually looking more and more likely that Leave will win. My reaction was, no, I can't believe this. Now everything has changed. And my first thought went to Northern Ireland. Okay, what's going to happen to Northern Ireland? And of course, the Brexiteers were, oh, don't worry, Northern Ireland's going to be fine. But I was thinking, okay, but if the UK leaves the EU, where's the border going to go? It'll have to go somewhere. And we can't have it between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, because that's going to go back to the bad old days. So my first reaction was, what the F? And then the second reaction was, okay, but what about Northern Ireland? And of course, the impact was not immediate. Over years and years and years, it eventually came to the position we're in at the moment. But what really annoyed me was that Northern Ireland was forgotten about. Northern Ireland was pushed to one side and ignored as an issue. And now it's back, front and center once again. Thanks, Katie. I hope I answered that well. But I think things are going to get better. I do think there will be a time when the UK, or whatever remains of the UK, it will rejoin the European Union. I'm sure of that. I don't know when, but it will happen. We have a super chat from Trevor. Thank you so much, Trevor. Keep up the excellent work. Here's to 1 million followers. I think, considering how long it took to get to 100,000, I think 1 million, this beard will be very long and very grey. But yeah, look, it's not so much about getting to this milestone. It's about having a voice and providing a voice for many people. And that's what I've heard from a lot of people. Thanks. A lot of people have said thanks for raising these issues, talking about Brexit, responding to the sort of rubbish that you hear online. Thanks, Trevor. Colum, thanks so much for that super chat. I'm just curious as to what part of Era you're from and how did you end up in Italy? So I'm from Longford, the big metropolis in the center of Ireland. So I don't know, Colum, from that name I imagine you're from Ireland yourself, or you have descendants from there. So you probably know the area. And how I ended up, my Mrs. Max is Italian, so we met in an Irish pub, in a pub in Ireland, and she said, "Why don't you come over and spend some time over in Italy if you'd like?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." We were friends, and I eventually came to Italy, and I fell in love with the country, fell in love with Venice, and then Mrs. Max after that, and that's why it's more complicated than that, but I'm not going to spend the whole night explaining it. But more or less, the reason is Mrs. Max. Thanks for that, Column. Try to get back as often as I can. Veg Pie, thanks so much for that super chat. Congratulations on attaining 100k max. What's your favorite song or piece of music? Favorite song is it's difficult to say which would be probably Alive and Kicking from Simple Minds. So I'm a kid of the 80s. Okay, I love 80s music. I'm very fortunate because when I'm in the car, I put on a radio station here in Italy called Radio 80s, which have only music from the 1980s, which is wonderful for me. So I'm a fan of music from the 1980s. Simple Minds is probably my favorite band, and I actually went to a cover band here in Italy. So I'm hoping that they're going to do a concert sometime soon, and I'd love to attend that. And they're Scottish as well, which is interesting. And favorite piece of music, I love, for example, Verdi here in Italy. So I love Verdi, the composer, classical music like that, and that's probably about it. There isn't really any music I don't like. It's just my preferred music is from the 1980s. Not a bit. Thank you so much. Congratulations and thank you. Not a bit. Very kind of you for that super chat. Column says, I'm a dub. My father is from Roscommon. Oh, very good. And my mother is from Kildare. Oh, Roscommon is just across, just a stone's throw from where I'm originally from. Just across the Shannon River. Great to have you on the stream tonight, Column. Don't think I saw you on before, so welcome and have a great night. Thanks so much for that super chat. I'll just jump back to some more questions from Discord. What were you like as a teenager? I feel like I'm in a psychology session. What was I like as a teenager? I was not rebellious. I was quite shy as a teenager, which is, probably strange, as I eventually doing a YouTube channel where I have 377 people watching. I was very shy as a teenager and kept very much to myself. I was interested in UK politics and politics in general, but most people of my age were not interested in politics. They were interested in maybe music or motorbikes or I don't know what else, other things, and nobody in my class or in my school or my age group were really interested in politics, so there was not really much for me to talk to them about when it came to politics. Or if I raised the issue of politics, they were like, yeah, whatever. Okay, that's not interesting. Peter, thanks so much for that super chat. If we rejoined the EU, and what would the EU demand? Will we have to join the euro? It's not clear what the exact requirements for the UK would be, because it's different for a country that has not been a member and is becoming a member. So the requirement on the UK, if it were to rejoin the European Union, could be different to a new member. Many people have said that joining the euro would be a prerequisite. I don't know if that's true, but closer alignment, of course, would be required. And a problem at the moment is that the UK, so we have the EU going in this direction and we have the UK going in this direction. And this is a problem. Until this is resolved, we're not going to see the UK joining the European Union anytime soon. That's a big problem, because in order to, if you look at, for example, Ukraine are talking about, okay, we want to adopt this, we want to cooperate with the European Union on that, and this is helping them along towards becoming a member of the European Union. I don't buy a lot of the rhetoric that's saying that Ukraine could be fast-tracked or whatever. I don't see that really happening. There's a lot of emotion at the moment, and I think after the war it will calm down a little bit, and I think Ukraine will follow maybe a different path to European Union membership than other countries, but it will not be fast tracked. I don't see that really happening, and I'm mixed on whether it should be fast tracked or not, because I understand the Ukrainian people want to become members of the European Union and they should be helped along with that. But it's important that measures are put in place to make sure that they are, issues of corruption or issues of of how the country operates need to be looked at before they can become a member. But your question was not about Ukraine; it's about the UK. I don't think it's necessary. Many people say it's necessary to join the euro. I don't know if that's true. Once again, the UK rejoining is not the same as a country joining. But the first thing that has to happen is there has to be alignment. And unfortunately, the Tories and the Brexiteers are going in the opposite direction. So that needs to be stopped. And the UK has to realign with the European Union in order to rejoin as a member. We're talking about many years, I'm afraid, because the damage of the Brexiteers and the Tories has to be undone first. Thanks for that super chat, Peter. We also have one from Wayne. Thank you so much, Wayne. What's your top 3 favorite 80s movies? Congratulations, by the way, on 100k. So I'll group probably Star Wars as one group of movies. So that's one. I really like Aliens. I love sci-fi movies. Alien is 1979, so it doesn't really count as 80s. Aliens does. It's 1986. And I like the Arnie movie, like the Terminator, or what's the one? Predator. Predator is a wonderful movie. Also, The Thing. I love The Thing as a movie as well. Mrs. Max doesn't like it, but I really like The Thing. And something that is amazing about John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982 is how the special effects are as good as the special effects today. And they didn't use CGI, they didn't use computers, they didn't use the type of the type of a technology we have today. They used old technology that was available back in the 1980s, and the results are fantastic, amazing results, and even better in a sense because of the limitations they had. So anyone, if you haven't seen The Thing, do check it out. It's an amazing movie, and also the story behind it is amazing, and the acting is wonderful. It's a perfect horror movie, I think, or sci-fi movie, whichever you prefer. I think many people will agree with me on that. We have a super chat from Genocide Jim. Max, stop talking about the UK going in one direction. It's England. We have no choice but to follow. No, that's a very good point. And Genocide Jim is from Scotland. It's England going in one direction. Scotland, for example, wants to rejoin the European Union. Scotland has been building bridges between building bridges with the European Union. Nicola Sturgeon, the First Minister, met with Sinn Féin President today in Edinburgh. So that's, and then Nicola Sturgeon was in the United States recently as well. So she's building bridges with partners. And yes, no, you're right there. Sorry, I stand corrected. It's not the UK. It's certain parts of the UK that want to go in the opposite direction of the EU. And I also think Wales is another part of the UK that wants to have a better relationship with the EU than Westminster does. Thanks, Genocide Jim. I love the names. John, thanks so much for that super chat. John Conlon, keep up the good work. Berbera. My Irish is terrible. I've forgotten so much. Thanks so much for that super chat. Shame on me. Okay, shame on me. I've forgotten so many words in Irish, and just the way when you learn it, it's like learning Latin or something. You memorize and you don't actually remember anything. You remember some words or phrases, but then you can't string a sentence together. Let's move on to some more questions from Discord. What were your ambitions when you were a child? I don't know. I don't actually remember. It seems so long ago. Ambitions as a child. Become an astronaut. Honestly, I don't remember. I'm not dodging the question here. I trying to think, what did I want to be as a kid? I don't remember. Apologies. What nicknames did you have? Nickname as a child. When I was in elementary school, or primary school, the kids called me Alf, like the alien from the TV show. I don't know if anyone remembers the TV show Alf. Maybe it was because of the hairstyle. It was like Alf. I really didn't understand. Like, I never actually asked the kids. You know, kids are weird. You know, when they're especially at that age. Never actually asked, why do you call me that? So that was my nickname for a while. If you could travel in time to any specific date, time, or date or year, when would it be and why? I'd love to go back to, for example, I'm not talking about going back to ancient Rome or the Middle Ages. I'd actually like to go back to like the 1950s or the 1970s, just to experience that. You know, I love the idea of being dropped into this time zone and experiencing it from within. You know, it's different from watching a movie or watching footage, documentary footage. Just so 1950s, 1970s, it's an unusual time. I'm not sure why. What's the weirdest food you've tried? It says banana or banana. The weirdest food I've tried. I'm not very adventurous. Fried artichoke. Oh, it's like a fried artichoke. It's not very adventurous. So I can't think of anything. Gammon. That was a long time ago. No, I can't think of any. I'm very, very unadventurous when it comes to food. I love ethnic food, like you know, Indian food or Mexican food, but always very simple things. I like spicy food, but nothing weird comes to mind. I'm quite boring when it comes to food. What's your favorite movie or TV show, and why is it Star Trek? Star Trek is good. My favorite Star Trek series is The Next Generation, with Captain Picard and Data and people like that. Is that one of my favorite episodes was when I think it was when they gave. So there was an episode where Data was Sherlock Holmes. He was playing Sherlock Holmes in the holodeck, and he was beating, you know, all of the how do you say, villains or whatever. And they said, look, we need to create a character that could beat Data. So they asked the computer to create a character that could beat Data. And I remember in the episode, it was like, there's a power surge in the holodeck for some reason. I think it was Worf that was saying it. And they were like, okay, just keep monitoring that. And they created Dr. Moriarty. And Dr. Moriarty obviously is Sherlock Holmes' greatest nemesis. And he was able to call for the gate to exit the holodeck and things like that. So that was a really interesting episode. But something I loved about The Next Generation was that it was very philosophical. They were dealing with issues that were complex, and it was not just a case of just shoot, ask questions later. It was really, I really liked Picard's approach of, okay, let's understand these people, this group, this alien, try and understand its reasons for doing this. And it's a real contrast with, you know, the sort of sci-fi that came before, where it's just like, you know, shoot the thing and then we'll deal with the consequences. Big Maj asks a question: what are your thoughts on bullies and those who abuse their power in politics and other walks of life? If you look at people like Boris Johnson and people like Boris Johnson who are bullies, they are people who, Priti Patel as well, people who are in a position, they have not arrived in that position due to merit. And I think this is a big difference between somebody. I think this is also something that creates a bully. Is somebody who has not arrived in their position because of merit, that they have been dropped in that, and they have a sense of entitlement. How do we deal with people like that? I think we need to expose them. We have to show them how. We have to show others that they are not as tough as they appear, and embarrass them in a sense. So people like Priti Patel, if she's embarrassed, it takes away her position of power. And I think this is something that can be applied to others as well. If you expose the bully for what they are, normally somebody who's a little bit incompetent but in a position of power because they're connected, they have the right connections or whatever. I think this is a good way of dealing with bullies, or just fighting them. Maybe not. Genocide GM, thanks so much for that super chat. Any chance you going on the Indie Truck Davy again? Good show, and Voyager is the best, by the way. I've been promising Indie Truck Davy for a long time. Yeah, I'll have to have you back on again. And I've never been getting round to it, and this is my motivation now. So I'm going to take a note. Honestly, I'm going to take a note. Indie Davy. Okay, so I'm going to take a note, and I'm honestly going to reach out to him and find out when we can either do a Sunday brunch or something like that, because next year is going to be a very important year, I think, for Scotland, and it's important to have the right people on who can inform us about what's happening on the ground in Scotland, people who know also the history of independence, the independence movement, what the SNP are planning to do, what they're planning not to do as well. And Indie Truck Davy is the man. Okay, so he's the guy to go to. So I'm going to try and get I honestly will try and get him on either a Sunday brunch or just a one-to-one. Thanks for that super chat. Voyager is the best. I think Voyager and Next Generation were similar, but I always preferred Next Generation. Let me see. We have another question from Banana. It says, if you were in the Star Trek universe and a Jedi, what color would your glow stick color be? Glow stick. It's called a lightsaber, not a glow stick. And what color would it be? Well, it can't be red because they're the bad guys. They're the Sith. I think blue is Guardian Jedi, while green is Sentinel, I think it is. Or maybe I'm forgetting the colors. Although Samuel Jackson had a purple one. That was really cool. So probably green. I prefer green to blue, maybe. So it'd probably be green. Like Luke Skywalker. Who is the best Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist? Yes, there is a correct answer. I don't know who they are. Is that a Star Wars thing or a Star Trek thing? I don't know. Because there's a lot of Star Wars really niche lore that I'm not familiar with. Why is Star Trek better than Star Wars? We're focusing too much on Star Trek and Star Wars. Top 5 inspirational people and why? Inspirational people in general or inspirational people for YouTube? If it's inspirational people for the channel, I would say, for example, James O'Brien was very inspirational. Phil as well. Phil from A Different Bias. 5. I can only come up with 2. So there's 2. I'll come back with another 3 if I can think of another 3. Freddie B loved Lieutenant Barclay and his arc. Did you Firefly? I never watched Firefly, unfortunately. I never watched it, never got into it, so I must check it out. Lieutenant Barclay was the guy played by Murdoch, wasn't it, from the A-Team? Let me see. If you had a chance to get behind the wheel of any vehicle ever made, what would it be and why? Maybe I would say a Tesla, but I know Elon Musk is not very popular at the moment, and I think it's important to separate the weird guy from the company, because I think the company is doing a lot of good things for electric cars, so that's good. So but they are damn expensive cars. Okay, the Tesla. But I think over the last number of years, what they've done is they've pushed forward the technology, and you're seeing a lot of the regular car companies producing cars as well, electric cars as well. And of course, they are the future. They are the present and the future. So if I could get behind, if probably it would be the Porsche have an electric car. I think it's the Taycan. I think it's called. I might be mispronouncing the title. It's a completely electric car, which is a sports car. That would be lovely to drive, but it's it's not within my budget. What's your favorite personal analogy besides your burning the tennis shoes? I don't remember the burning the tennis shoes one. Are you sure that was me? I don't remember that. Probably the fire one. You know, the house is on. So Brexit is the house on fire. The Northern Ireland Protocol is the fire extinguisher, or maybe the pizza one. So the pizza one, of course, is Brexit. You know, Brexit was a pizza. You say, well, what's wrong with that? Yeah, but when you were told you would get a pizza, the people like Farage and Johnson and Jacob Rees-Mogg didn't tell you what type of pizza. They just said a pizza. So it could be a photo of a pizza. It could be a frozen pizza. It could be a pizza with pineapple on it. It could be a pizza that's 5,000 years old. It could be a pizza in the future. It could be a virtual pizza. It could be a CGI pizza. So I also like the idea of the pizza. So when people vote, they said, I knew what I was voting for. I knew I was voting for a picture of a pizza. No, you weren't. You were hoping to get a pizza hot with the right toppings, but instead you got not that. Let me see. We have a super chat from number 3. How did you get to be good at making videos? It's a learning. I'm not good. I'm still learning, and I still make a lot of mistakes. Okay, some which are pointed out from time to time. I'm very fortunate the way the format I use. So a lot of the videos I make are reactions to something that has been said, and that's, you know, so what I do is I let you into a bit of a secret here. It's not a big secret, but so most of you probably understand this already. So what I normally do is I look at what's happening, you know, today or yesterday in the news. So it might be something about, obviously something about Brexit, or something about something that has been said by Nadine Dorris, for example. And what I do is, you know, I try and find the original source of that. Maybe it's something from the House of Commons, or maybe if it's not possible, maybe an interview with the BBC. And you know, I give a little bit of an introduction about what it's about, and my reaction to it. Now, when I started out the channel, first of all, what I did was I just let the video run first and then gave my reaction, and there was no real context and no real background. So while these videos did, you know, were popular and did well, a lot of people told me, yeah, but we'd like to know your opinion, and a lot of the time, you know, we don't hear what you truly feel about this. And at the beginning I thought it was, well, why would you want to hear what I have to say? You're more interested in what James O'Brien had to say, or you're more interested in what Boris Johnson had to say. But now I've built a better understanding of the positions many people have, a better understanding of, particular Tories within the Conservative Party, if they're Remainers, if they were Brexiteers, their positions on many issues, and also, there are a lot of resources available to me as well. Things like, the voting record, which I think is very important. This is something I think is really important for everyone to look at. Whoever your MP is, even if you don't know their name, know their voting record, because this is something that's important to know. It's very important to know when you're going to vote. Okay, ignore the character, the individual, if the person ruffles their hair or not. Look at what they have voted for and what they have voted against in the House of Commons. That's more important than the name of the candidate, because that's what you're voting for. Because if the candidate is replaced, they'll put in somebody else. That person would probably vote the same way as the rest of the party. So that has to be the key takeaway from any election. And I think it's important to highlight this. And I think it's important to highlight, when somebody's telling you to do something, what is the motivation behind that? So, for example, there's a video dropping tomorrow about a think tank, a right-wing think tank, whose motivation is to sell off the NHS, whose motivation is to privatize as much as possible. But they don't want to tell you that explicitly. They want to be interviewed on the BBC, or they want to be on Question Time and try and slip in this type of information. Undermine the NHS is not working right. Look at all these backlogs it has. Maybe it would be better if it was privatized. This is the type of this is the way these think tanks work, and we don't know who backs them. We don't know who funds them, and I think it's important to call that out. But I have a video about that tomorrow. I do recommend checking it out. Thanks for that super chat number 3. I hope I answered these questions, because you're all very kind sending me these questions. I hope I'm answering them correctly, or to the best of my ability. George, great to see you once again. Hope you're well. Andrew Bailey, Bank of England, apocalyptic, but Tories will do nothing because of their ideology, the fifth horsemen of the apocalypse. I think, and I don't know if you heard the news, George, today, that Rishi Sunak has made the Times rich list. So you have the Chancellor of the Exchequer telling people, I'm sorry, we can't afford to give you a £20 uplift. While I actually thought he was worth 150 million. Apologies, Rishi Sunak. How dare I say such a horrible thing? He's actually worth 500 million more. He's worth 750 million pounds. Now, once again, it's not this idea that, well, if you're rich, that means you can't understand what ordinary people are going through. Martin Lewis, the money saving expert, he's a rich man, but he understands better than most people what the cost of living crisis. He understands the impact it's having. So it's not always somebody who's rich doesn't understand it. But Rishi Sunak, 750 million pounds, almost a billionaire, and obviously his wife is a billionaire. So, but their combined income makes them a billionaire family. There's a difference between a millionaire or multimillionaire and a billionaire. You can start a business and be very successful and become a millionaire or multimillionaire. But to become a billionaire, you need the state behind you. You need legislation in your favor. People don't become billionaires by accident. People don't become billionaires because they come up with a new idea. Some do exist, but they're extremely rare. Most billionaires are there because they've benefited from a system that's designed to ensure that they are able to hoard this amount of money. Thanks, George. We have another super chat from Drake Long. Thanks so much for that super chat. Did you catch Mary Black's F word short in Parliament? If not, find and play. Yes, I did see an amazing speech, a wonderful speech, and she's completely correct here. The idea that, you know, fascism is not something that arrives with jackboots. It's not something that arrives overnight. It's a gradual process. And she highlighted, you know, how the UK is moving clearly in that direction. And I think this is a speech that's going to be repeated. I hope she's wrong, but I fear that she's correct. And unless the Tories are removed from power, this speech will be remembered in the future as the warning before the storm, I'm afraid. Thanks for that super chat. Tiny Demolition Lover, Max is a closet Trekkie. Pass it on. Be loud and proud, Max. Star Trek is wonderful from a philological point of, not philological, from a philosophy point of view, philosophical point of view. My God, I need to cut down on the wine. I had a few glasses of wine before I came on the stream. Let me move on. Banana Nana again. If you had to spend 24 hours with either Jar Jar Binks or Wesley Crusher, who would you pick? Jar Jar Binks is annoying, while Wesley Crusher is obnoxious. So I don't know which is worse. That's a good question. Which alcoholic beverage did you consume? Says Real. Wine. I had some wine before I came on. If you live in Italy, you have to drink wine. Beer is very good here, but wine is excellent. And it's very cheap, okay? Let me tell you something that really shocked me when I first came to Italy. So my wife lives just outside Venice on the mainland. And I remember a couple of weeks after I just arrived here, I remember we went to take a bus, and I was waiting with her at the bus stop, and I looked in the window of a shop, and they had petrol pumps inside the shop, and I was like, that's very strange. Why are there petrol pumps inside the shop? And the name of the shop was Inoteca, which means wine cellar. And I swear that I saw a man arrive with a big container, a glass, so it's like a large glass bottle wrapped in a type of basket, and he put it down on the floor and he filled it up with the petrol. It was like a petrol tank nozzle, you know, the one you put in a car, with wine. And I was like, I love this place. And so you can get very, very good wine for about maybe €1, between €1.20, €1.50 and up per litre. Okay, so you can get a litre of wine for about €1.50. And very good wine. It's not some terrible stuff that will give you a headache. Sorry, a hangover. You can drink this wine, and the next day you'll be like a flower, or whatever the expression is. So it's very good wine you can find here in Italy, and it doesn't give you any problems, unless you drink, industrial quantities, which is not a good idea. Are you fluent in Italian? Non sono fluente completamente, però parlo abbastanza bene, secondo me. Però ho tanto da fare. There you go. Am I fluent? So I'm somewhat fluent. I could speak a lot better, but I'm a very bad student. I'm very lazy. I don't study. So my level I should be here, but I'm about here. And to get from here to here, you have to study. And that's the worst part. And I don't study. I haven't studied it in a long time. And then my wife she speaks English perfectly. So I don't practice in Italian. Only when I meet people outside. And it's very, very basic what I say to them. It'd be impossible for me to do a video in Italian. Let me just put it that way. It would be full of mistakes, even more than in English. Let me see, who's better, Batman or Spider-Man? well, they're from different comics, so you can't really compare them. But Spider-Man is probably cooler. How many times did have the chat broken, Max, since the channel started? I don't know how many. So when they say about how many times have I been broken on the channel, on the chat. So that broken is when somebody says something really funny and I just can't continue. It's been a number of times. Probably the worst time was the Richard Gere one. I think it was the Richard Gere one when somebody said that somebody brought the story about hamsters or gerbils, and you probably all heard the story about the urban legend about Richard Gere. And there was also a terrible urban legend. There were two terrible urban legends that got me really laughing a lot. Was the one about Marilyn Manson getting a rib removed. That was terrible. And also this idea that Marilyn Manson was really the guy from the Wonder Years. So the actor from the Wonder Years was Marilyn Manson, which is an urban legend. It's not true at all. I don't know if anyone has ever heard that. But also the idea getting a rib removed so he can do certain things. Where do people come up with these ideas? Can you imagine? Just think about it for a moment. Marilyn Manson goes to a doctor and says, "Doctor, I need to get some surgery done." And the doctor's like, "Well, what's wrong with you?" So I need to get a rib removed. Why? Did you break it? Were you in an accident? No, because I want to do a certain thing. What? What do you want to do? Just think about the thought process there. Do people actually get? Is this something that actually happened? Okay, I'm going to get broken again. Anyway, Angelo, thanks for that super chat. What wine did you drink with James O'Brien? And what wine would you drink with James O'Brien and Boris Johnson? I don't remember the wine Boris Johnson drinks, but it's like €180 or £180 a bottle. I love Bracchetto. Bracchetto is a sweet wine. I think it's from central Italy, Emilia Romagna. Very, very nice and not very expensive, but I like this sweeter wine. Not a big fan of very dry wine. I prefer sweet wine. Thanks for that, Angelo. I hope you're well. Grazie. We have a few troll bots, I think. The Manson thing is a legend, and for many musicians over the year. Come on, folks, push the like button. Yes, push that like button. I think we have a bot sending links. Let's break Max. Pass it on. White wine is bad for a hangover. Red wine is better. I didn't know that. Thanks for that advice. Alexis, great to have you on the stream. Hope you're well tonight. Thanks for that super chat. Just tuned in. Have you heard the Department of Work and Pension are to be given power to arrest, give fines, access bank accounts and addressed of bank accounts and addresses of universal credit claimants. When I saw that, I was no, that can't be possible. That can't be real. That's not possible. How can members of people who work for the Department of Work and Pensions given the power of arrest? I thought it was an exaggeration, and I was like, no, I can't cover that. People would not believe that. But if you're repeating that, it must be true. This idea that people who are on universal credit are going to be arrested by the Department of Work and Pensions. Like, what the F? So I'm definitely going to look into that more and probably do a video on it. I honestly didn't do anything about it because I thought it was absurd. I thought it was just, no, this is impossible. Giving the power of arrest to people who work for the Department of Work and Pensions. Thanks, Alexis, for that. Max, are you a fan of Sinn Féin? Look, I like some of the things Sinn Féin do. I think maybe some of the other things they don't do, probably I don't agree with. But if Sinn Féin are helping people, then I'll back Sinn Féin. I think a big problem it's not even a big problem for Sinn Féin, but a problem they face in the Republic is the main parties like Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael will bring up the past, will say, oh well, you used to be aligned with the terrorist organisation, and they'll focus on that. And in reality, most people don't vote for Sinn Féin because of the IRA or because of a United Ireland. They vote for them because they believe they're a party that's actually going to help them. They're actually going to deal with the cost of living crisis, that are going to deal with the housing crisis in Ireland as well. And I think there's this attempt to say, well, you shouldn't vote for Sinn Féin because of what they were in the past. And this is not, this is backfiring, because somebody telling you don't vote for that party is not really an incentive not to vote for that party. Especially as the people who are telling you don't vote for them are not really helping you out. It's not like they're really helping you, and this is a motivation not to vote for Sinn Féin. So I wouldn't say I'm a fan of Sinn Féin, but I think a lot of the policies that they want to do, if this is what they want to do, I think these policies should be supported. They seem more interested in dealing with the cost of living crisis than maybe Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael in the Republic. In Northern Ireland, well, it's a different situation, of course, because of the protocol, because of the Northern Ireland Assembly. I do tend to think, and I don't know if this is a mistake on my side, but I do tend to think that Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland is a bit more conservative with a small c than Sinn Féin in the Republic. I think Sinn Féin down south are more left-wing, I think, than Sinn Féin in the north. In the north, they seem much more conservative with a small c, like the Conservative Party, but a bit more centre. But maybe I'm wrong on that. That's just an impression I get. British government's reaction to Sinn Féin is shocking. They continue to ignore the fact that they are the biggest party in Northern Ireland at the moment. Is Max going to run to open the silver play button? About the silver play button, this is when, so if your YouTube channel reaches 100,000, it's not automatic. You have to ask YouTube, and YouTube have to judge whether you deserve one or not. So I don't know. It's not in my hands. It's in YouTube's hands whether I get one or not. How many flags do you own now? And what has your wife said? So we have a Union flag. That's not mine. That's Sir Ron's. We have a Scottish flag. We have a European Union flag. We have a Ukrainian flag. We don't actually have an Irish flag. Shame. I think we may have another one, but I don't remember what it is. Let me see. We have more questions. I'm going to try and get through as many of these before we finish tonight. Do you have any weird superstitions? That's an interesting question. Oh, sorry. We have one from Buxton who says, how do you decide which government fuck up to cover each day? I don't know. It just seems some different ones jump out at me, so it's difficult to know which one to actually cover. It's probably the more shocking ones that I find more interesting. So, you know, a Brexiteer has said something really stupid, or Boris Johnson has acted in a ridiculous way, or for example, Priti Patel's reaction to me from the, so I don't know if you guys had seen the video tonight. There was a video tonight where Priti Patel reacted to somebody who was describing the cost of living crisis to her, and Priti Patel's reaction was like, what? Why are you asking me this question? You know, it was a ridiculous question to be asked. She was asked whether she could live on £1,200 or £1,400 a month. and this is more than a lot of people do live on. But for Priti Patel, it's like, why are you asking me this? This is a ridiculous question. I'm not even going to bother. I'm not even going to dignify it with a response. And then she started talking about, yeah, we're helping people out, and we're doing this and we're doing that. And obviously she couldn't answer the question. So things like that, things that jump out at me. That's why a lot of the videos are about something that's happened either today or yesterday, or at most the day before yesterday. Because you won't find many videos on the channel that are very general. They're more about things that are happening just at the moment. So it's normally a reaction to something that's just popped up. So I'm just checking. Okay, is it just normally something that's just popped up? And also, I have to say a massive thank you to everyone on Discord, because I receive a lot of notifications about interesting stories on Discord from people either directly or on different channels on Discord. So people can post stories, something that's interesting, and I get a lot of interesting stuff from there as well. So it's not just me finding something directly, but it's a mix of different things. Freddie B, thanks so much, Freddie. I read the most condescending article after the last elections, titled "Why Young People Don't Care About Sinn Féin's Violent Past." Look, if somebody is working, or maybe let's just say for a young person has just started working, and they are living with the hope of, okay, I'll eventually be able to buy a house. I'll start a family, I'll have a kid or 2 kids or whatever, and I'll buy a house. For most young people today, that's beyond the realms of possibility. If you look, there's a Twitter account called, I think it's called Crazy House Prices. It's an Irish Twitter account, and they post images, and some of this thing is shocking. For example, I saw one yesterday, I think it was, and I think this was not real, but I've seen, for example, garden sheds, a wooden house, the ones that you can see if you go to B&Q, or if you go to what was it, DIY or whatever, DIY stores. The wooden house that you put inside, a lawnmower, and you put inside maybe tools for working in a garden or whatever. Slightly bigger than that. These were being rented out by people in Dublin for like £1,000 or £2,000, €2,000 a month. So just think about that, okay? 2,000, and in order to pay the rent, well, you need to obviously earn a lot more than €2,000 a month. So you have to earn a lot, and then if you're working a normal job, you're not going to be able to afford 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 euros a month. You're going to struggle with 1,000 or 2,000 or 1,000 to 1,500 a month. And then what are you supposed to live on after that? And then what are you supposed to save? Because the idea, in the past was, okay, you rent, and while you rent, you put something aside in order to build up an amount of money. So you go to the bank and you say, look, I have this in savings, give me a mortgage. They give you a mortgage and you can buy a house. Those days are over for 2 reasons. One is banks don't actually allow you to do that. But second, people are not able to save money. More and more parts of people's portions of people's incomes are going on rent. So it's impossible for them to put money aside. If 60-70% of your income goes on rent, how are you? Well, it's difficult to live, but how are you supposed to save anything for the future in order to buy a home? So I think Generation Z and on, they're not going to be able to buy homes anymore. It's beyond the realm of possibility, and they look at the main parties like Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael in Ireland, and the response from the main parties is, well, we're going to try and tinker around the edges, we'll try and adjust things a little bit, and that'll help you get on the property ladder. But it doesn't. And rents are continuing to rise. And it's more and more difficult for people to get on the property ladder. And the natural response to that is, well, I'm not going to vote for these parties because they offer me nothing. Sinn Féin are talking about building more homes. Sinn Féin are talking about helping us out. Let's give them a try. And I think, the main party saying, well, you shouldn't vote for them because they used to be aligned to the IRA, doesn't really wash anymore. Especially as young people growing up didn't experience that. They didn't understand. They have no knowledge of that, really. So they're like, you're talking about terrorism from 30 years ago? Why should we care about that? Not in a malicious way. It doesn't affect me. What affects me is a cost of living crisis, and you're not dealing with it. That was a bit longer of a response than I wanted, but Irish flag fund started. Your man off the telly. I love the name, Your Man Off the Telly. No, no, there's no need to start a fund, but I have one somewhere, but I've never actually had it out because I either have the European one or I have the Scottish one, or I have the Union flag. Well, it's not me, but Anyway, let's move on. Getting a bit caught up there. Do you have any weird superstitions? No, I'm not a very superstitious person. I'm a bit more fatalistic. If this is what happens, this is what happens. Yeah, no, I honestly don't have any. I'm not really superstitious. If Sir Ron was a supervillain, what power would he have? He'd have the power to get Brexit done. That would be his superpower. To be extremely annoying. To be pretentious. Is pretentiousness a superpower? That would be Sir Ron's. If you actually met Terry Rand, some noise here. What would you say? I would not say anything. I would just melt in the corner. Are the hamsters still running? Yes, the hamsters are still running. Leon says, may I ask one Irish person to another? We dislike pride and applause. Do you feel proud of what you have created in regards to the community you have built, not just on Discord, yet also on YouTube? It's difficult to explain this on YouTube because Discord is somewhat different. But I do recommend, if you have signed up to Patreon, do check out Discord. It's a benefit that you have. But Discord is a wonderful place where we managed to create a community, and it's not me doing it. It's the people coming in, people sharing their experiences, people talking about issues that are important to them, and Discord allows people to create a community where people feel safe, and that's something very important for me. We talk about politics, we talk about the cost of living, we talk about funny things, serious things, but it was something wonderful about the Discord server. It's a place where people can feel comfortable. There's no judgment, there's no judging, there's no prejudice against anyone. People can have their disagreements, but it's respectful, and I think that's something wonderful. And I want to maintain that. I want to make sure that it's welcoming for people. They can talk about things that involve them, and people have really opened up. I'm not going to go into details, of course, but many people have opened up about their personal experiences, with me and others on Discord, and it's very humbling. It's it gives you this idea of how it's important for people to be able to talk without being judged, and I think that's something that is something I want to maintain. it was not the original goal of the chat of the Discord server. It was just to have discussions about politics, but these things evolve, and I think that's a really good thing. Well, we'll probably do another 20 minutes. I'll keep going. We have one from Killer who says, are you a 2 Weetabix or 3 Weetabix kind of guy? Whatever Jacob Rees-Mogg is, I'm not. There we go. So is Jacob Rees-Mogg... Jacob Rees-Mogg said he puts jam, was it? Or Marmite on his Weetabix, was it? I don't remember what Jacob Rees-Mogg said. It's like... Nanny likes something on Weetabix. I don't remember what it was. So whatever it is, I'm the opposite of that. Fearless asks, do you write a Christmas letter to Santa and checking it twice just to make sure to be sure? Just to be sure. Yes, I always write a letter to Santa Claus. Doesn't everybody do that? Otherwise, you don't get your 100,000 subscribers if you don't write to Santa Claus. Should there be blood in the blood god? Of course there should. I don't know what that question's about magic. Should we spill blood for any god? No, we should not. Italy is big and full of treasures. Why the Veneto? Says Eric. It's Mrs. Max's fault. She's from Veneto, so this is where I ended up. Matt Greek says, would you rather be 7'4" or 4'7"? Well, if you're 4'7", generally people who are shorter live longer and they have less health problems. So it's better to be a little bit shorter than a little bit taller or very tall. There are exceptions, of course, but generally that seems to be the case. These are questions I never expected to be asked. Can we expect a meetup sometime? Yes. So this is something I would love to do. Now it's not always, and don't worry, I won't be coming tapping on your windows, okay? In the middle of the night. Hey, remember you subscribe to my channel. But I would love to meet with people from all over, wherever you live. I would love to have a pint or a glass of wine or a cup of tea or whatever your beverage is in your town or in your city. Look, this year is a bit complicated. There's a lot of things I have offline that need to be sorted out. But over the next year or two, I'd love to visit all over Europe, the UK, of course. The UK is still part of Europe, don't worry. But I'd love to visit all over Europe, visit some cities, and I'd love to meet with people from the channel, subscribers, people on Patreon, people on Discord. It doesn't matter if you're, if you'd like to meet with me just to have a chat about Brexit, or maybe you're like, no, stop talking about Brexit. I'd love to meat up with people. Promise I won't come round to your house. We can meet in a neutral place, okay? With lots of people around, so it's not dangerous for you. But no, it would be Max on tour. But no, I'd love to meet with people because you can see me, I can see you, and that's not so important. But it would be nice to understand what led you to the channel, why you became a subscriber, what you'd like to see in the future, what you think is going to happen with Brexit, with the UK, with Europe. Coffee in Amsterdam, cool. Yeah, I'm up for all of that. So maybe I'll get a camper van and just drive around. I may meet. I'd love to meet with some people. I'm not talking about making videos about it. Just to meet with people, have a chat, and see how things go. Is there a video you wish you hadn't aired? One. I can't think of an example now. This is from Lenan. Is there a video you wish you hadn't aired? I can't think of a video that comes to mind, but I have uploaded some videos. There was one some time ago. I must have, and I took down the video eventually because what happened was there was a guy in during question time where he said something and I misinterpreted what he said, and I criticized him for what he said. And you guys actually corrected me on that. You said, no, he didn't actually say that. He said something else. Some of you may remember. I don't remember the exact details. But I apologized in the comments, and then I realized, no, this is not enough. So I took down the video and just left it at that. So, you know, if I make a mistake, I'll put a correction. But if it's really serious, I'll just take the video down, because there's no point. It doesn't help the channel. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help you guys. There's no point, you know, sticking to my guns and saying, just doubling down on things. If there's a mistake, there's a mistake. Correct the record, unlike Boris Johnson. But just take it down. And, you know, the idea of the channel is not just to insult or to attack. It's about to correct things, to try and have as correct as possible information available. And, you know, I make mistakes, like everyone else, but I think it's important not to leave these mistakes up there. You know, if there's an unintentional mistake, that's one thing, but if I realize this is a mistake, put in a correction or just get rid of the video. It hasn't happened a huge number of times. It happened maybe 2 or 3 times where I've uploaded a video and said, no, that can't stay there. It has to go. And it's not a problem for me. It's just get rid of the videos. It's not a problem. Maybe upload another video of the type from, you know, with the correct information, or just leave the topic altogether. Let me see. We have another question from Killer, who says, what is the one habit of yours that pisses off Super Special Agent M the most? And when do you do it? Does she swear at you in Italian or in English? So when I do something, what do I do that pisses off Mrs. Max? I think it's a typical man thing. So she says, did you do this? And I say, yeah, I'll do it. And then 6 months later, did you do this? Yeah, I'll do it. So is it, can you hang this picture? Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and the day after, and the day after. And they just say, can you hang this picture? Yeah, I'll do it next week. Okay. I don't have the time. So I have a tendency to put things off and then forget about them. And this creates a bit of friction, as you can imagine. It's probably the worst thing, maybe. Or, yeah, I think that's probably it. I don't want to go into too much detail here. When will you be invited on Question Time? I don't think I'd ever be invited on Question Time. You have to be a Tory to be invited into. No. I like this format, so I don't know if I'd be very good in a live format. I don't think I'd be very good, you know, debating things. I've invited Brexiteers on for a debate. None of them have responded. Some people have responded, but I prefer to have a conversation with somebody who I know knows stuff, because it'd be more interesting for you guys as well. The idea behind a debate is not for me to convince the other person of something or for them to convince me. It's about something that's interesting for you people to listen to. And there's no point me just having a chat with somebody just down the pub, because this is not somebody, well, unless this person down the pub, you know, is some sort of expert or claims to be an expert. That's different, because we can have some sort of discussion. But there's no point having a chat with somebody who doesn't really know what they're talking about, or is just being argumentative. That's not really beneficial to anyone, because my questions would be, why do you support Brexit? What are the motivations behind it? What do you expect to get out of this? And those sort of conversations end very quickly. And then we'd be like spinning our wheels for 20 minutes, and it's not interesting for you guys. It's not just about entertainment, but it has to be something engaging, I think, as well. But it's not about winning debates or anything like that. It's just about having an honest conversation, trying to understand what motivates certain people to do certain things. Technically, tomato soup is a smoothie. So is cereal a smoothie? Is cereal a soup? I don't understand that question. Are birds dinosaurs? Technically, yes. They originate from dinosaurs. Wee Scott's Dog, thanks so much for that question on Discord, who says, did it put strain on your relationship with your twin brother, Sir Ron, when you had to play his Downing Street Partygate fixed... When you had to pay his Downing Street fixed penalty... Partygate fixed penalty fine after he told the police his name was Maximilian Robespierre? And did you pay it in euros? I paid it in pounds, and I was very upset because Sir Ron is very naughty. Sir Ron does the dirty and then blames me for it. So yeah, so I was very upset with that. Of course, you know, I was trying to explain to them that it wasn't me, it was him, but the police wouldn't accept it. I paid it in pounds because I tried to do it in euros, but they wouldn't accept euros, so I had to pay it in pounds. £50. Thanks, Sir Ron. But then he's a Brexiteer. You know, Brexiteers never take responsibility for their actions. Catalyst Ed, if you could form a Labour Party cabinet, who would you put in it, including choice of Labour leader, and how much would it annoy Sir Ron? I think some of the main people in the current cabinet are pretty good. Like Angela Rayner is good. Wes Streeting is very good. David Lammy is good. So I think I would maintain most of those people. The Labour leader, I think it's important to differentiate between who would make a good prime minister and who would make a good leader. And they're two different things. Because a leader needs to be able to bring both sides together. While a good prime minister is just someone who can run the country, who can run the country from number 10. So they're different from a party leader. They also have to have the ability to unite the party. But once they're prime minister, that's different. I think it's much easier to unite the party because you're in power. And people want to be close to people who are in power. They don't want to be outside that. So they want influence over you. So I think Keir Starmer, I think would make a good prime minister. I think he still has to do some work on his leadership skills because he's not uniting the party. He's gaining because of Tory losses, not because really of Labour wins. People are voting against the Tories. Really, they're not really voting for the Labour Party at the moment, which is a problem. Now that Bogdan says, now I remember glancing at this. Would you allow yourself to be photographed wearing a mankini, even if it was purely for max enjoyment? Nobody gets enjoyment out of a mankini, okay? It's a crime against humanity. So no, the answer is no. Gareth, thanks so much for that super chat. Next time you make a mistake, get a menial underling named Sue to launch an investigation to determine whether or not it was a mistake. Yes, the Sue Gray report. What's going to happen to it? Boris Johnson has broken the law. He hasn't resigned. He said, wait for Sue Gray and her report. Where is this report? The police have finished their investigation. So, well, where is the report? So we haven't heard from any report yet. And Sue Gray is missing in action, it seems. Hope we didn't miss any other super chats. Okay. So guys, we're almost at the end of the stream. So I just want to read out a few more questions as quickly as I can. What do you think you'll be driving as an EV as your daily driver? I'd love to drive maybe a Kia EV6 would be lovely to have, but I don't know if that's possible. It seems a good car, or a Hyundai Ioniq 5 would be great. How much wood would a woodchuck? How much wood? So, Wee Scott's Dog asked a very important question. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Well, I presume a woodchuck can chuck wood, because it wouldn't be a woodchucker if they couldn't chuck wood. But I think the answer is 72. How drunk do you have to be? Okay. If you could cook a 30 pence meal, what would it contain? That's a very good question. What would a 30 pence meal contain? Now I'm thinking a packet of pasta costs about 50p. No, it depends on the type of pasta, but we're talking between maybe 30-50p. Well, that's, you can't just have a plate of pasta, because you need to put something on it. It's not just pasta on its own. And the 30p, I presume, doesn't include the cost of cooking it, or does include the cost of cooking. I don't know. If it does, then, you know, okay, a plate of pasta, you know, you can get a few plates out of a packet of pasta. But basically for 30p, you're talking about maybe pasta with some sauce, and that's it. And while that is achieving the 30p, maybe, you can't eat that every day, at every meal. It's not healthy. You need to have a mix. So, yeah, I don't know how you get to a 30p meal. Which is interesting, because Lee Anderson is able to claim £25 a day meal expenses. So maybe this would be a good solution for the Tories. Get all MPs to cut their benefits down to 30p a day. They can cook on 30p a day, so they should be happy with that. Name one thing that you're really bad at, because you wish you wish you were really good at. Keep it clean. Something I'm really bad at, any sort of manual work. Okay. I'm the type of person that looks at something and say, okay, that shouldn't be too difficult, and then I start doing it and I get very, very frustrated, because so for example, you know, recently I was building a little shed, a little wooden building, so a little wooden house, and it was like a Picasso painting. Not because it was valuable, because of what it looked like. It you know, if I you know, get something from IKEA or whatever, and you have to assemble it, I try and do it without the instructions for some stupid reason. I know how these things fit together, and then it ends up, you know, looking something like this, where it's not matching up correctly, and then I get frustrated and I just swear at it and stuff like that. I'm exactly like, you know, Homer Simpson, when Homer Simpson tried to make a barbecue. That's pretty much how it ends up. I don't know if anyone has seen that episode, where it's like a pile of concrete with a piece of metal and plastic sticking out of it. Killer, we have a super chat from Killer. Thanks so much. Is there an image more disgusting than a hairless Wookiee? If so, what is it? For anyone who doesn't know, a Wookiee is Chewbacca. Chewbacca's a Wookiee, and a hairless Wookiee. Oh my goodness. I don't know what is more disgusting than a hairless Wookiee. I don't even want to go there. Okay, there's so many tangents that could go down. Now I have that image in my mind. Thank you so much for that. What's your favorite quote? I don't know, Constance. I don't know what my favorite quote is. Get Brexit done. How many subscribers does it take to change a light bulb? 100,000 it takes to change a light bulb. There you go. Boomerage. What's the longest you've gone without sleep, and why? So this is very interesting. So I don't know if this is the longest, but many years ago, I was we're going down in subscribers, so people are viewers, so people are switching off. Yes, we're very close to the end now. Many years ago, I was part of an organization that we did reenactment. So we'd dress in costumes and we'd fight in a medieval battle. And I remember we were doing an event in one town, and and I was completely destroyed because it was really, really hot. You know, you're wearing all this heavy armor and clothing all day, and you know, you're drinking wine and water, and you're not eating very well. You're just eating bits of bread or whatever just to put something in your stomach. And it was really hot, and I was really tired. And I thought we were finishing for the day and then going home, and then the next event will be the following week. No, the next event was the next day, and we weren't going to sleep and then go. No, we were going to drive down to the place, which was about 2 hours, I think, from where we were. And we drove down in the middle of the night. We stopped somewhere for a coffee, and then we continued on. And we arrived in the second location, and we slept. We tried to sleep in our cars. And you know anyone who has tried to sleep in a car, you can't sleep in a car. It's really, really uncomfortable. And it was really hot. And at one stage, an old lady came out and she started tapping on the window saying, "You can't park here. You can't park here. What are you doing?" And we're like, "No, we're trying to sleep. Leave us alone." So I probably didn't get any sleep at all. And I was really tired, and I had driven, and that was the second event, I just wanted to go, no, I just want to go home. I want to go home. So it wasn't very nice. No DLC. Ever unwind with a computer game? What do you play? I used to play Call of Duty. I used to play Halo when I had an Xbox, the old Xbox. But now I've always wanted to play some more. And for example, Grand Theft Auto, I used to play that. One of the older ones, I think it was Grand Theft Auto 3. I used to play those games, but then I just don't have time now. I'd like to play some video games, but just don't have time. So those are the games I used to play, but I don't play any now. Sometimes a problem with the channel is that I feel if I'm not doing something for the channel, then I'm betraying it in some way. So I think we'll just do one more question, because I have so many questions from Discord and I can't answer them all. I'll just try and pick a good one. What's the funniest thing one of your pets has ever done? I don't know, maybe farted or something. Like, Mrs. Max and I'd be watching TV, and one of the dogs, we have a few dogs, would be sitting on the sofa next to us, and then you hear this, rah! And then and then the smell, and be like, oh my goodness. That's probably one of the funniest. You'd have to stop the TV and try and evacuate the building, because it can be quite bad. Okay, that's probably one of the funniest things they've ever done. George, thanks so much for that super chat. Ideology, fifth redacted horsemen of the apocalypse. Yes, we'll have to see how all of that works out. Will the Sue Gray report contain actually anything? I have a feeling that it'll just be a whitewash. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. It's not going to really contain anything. Certainly nothing damaging for Boris Johnson, and he'll be whatever. And it's not going to give. I don't think it's going to give a recommendation on whether he should resign or not. That it'll be ultimately up to Boris Johnson whether he resigns or not. So guys, I think we'll call it a night. We've been on for over 2 hours, or about 2 hours. So I want to say thank you so much to everyone who sent questions in on Discord. Apologies I couldn't read them all out. There were just so many. And then I want to say thanks to everyone who sent in a super chat. I want to say thanks to everyone who smashed the like button. Thank you so much for that. It's been a pleasure getting up to 100,000. Thanks to all of you for subscribing. Thanks to everyone who shared videos on social media, who liked the streams, who helped out on the streams, who commented. All of these things help the channel. So posting something on the channel, sharing a video is a wonderful way to help out. It's not necessary always to give monetary support. You know, I understand people are going through a very difficult time, so you know, anything you can give is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, but don't feel that you have to. It's not necessary. Okay. You know, sharing a video is a great way to help the channel. Smashing the like button, posting a comment, all of these things help the algorithm convince Google, yeah, this is a good video, it should get views. This is a great way to help. Okay, so that's more than anyone. I don't know how should I say this. That's all I ask. Okay, just to smash the button or post a comment or share a video if you can. So, and only if you can. Don't worry, there's no obligation, of course. So onward to 200,000. Thanks so much. So have a great weekend, guys. Unfortunately, I won't be able to have the Sunday brunch this week, but we'll probably see you at the next Sunday brunch after. And have a great weekend, and I'll see you at the live stream, normal live stream on Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Usual bat time, usual bat channel. And thanks once again for getting us up to 100,000. It's a wonderful milestone, something I never expected. You probably look weird because I'm looking down. The camera is up here, so I'm not like looking away from you. It's just, it feels weird looking at the camera. I prefer just to look a little bit down, so that's why might look weird. Anyway, okay, have a great night, guys. Great weekend, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Take care.